Hello, all. Good evening. So, uh, all of you ready, right? Shall we start up? Okay. So, yesterday we were just discussed about like brief history about testing and career opportunities. So, anybody having any questions? Uh, no questions means we'll go for like discussing like testing definition. So it will take 1 hour of time. And before that, if we discuss this testing definition, it will get cover all these topics like verification, validation, quality assurance, quality control, software development lifecycle. So differences between verification and validation, differences between quality assurance and quality control. Then what is static testing, dynamic testing, differences between static testing and dynamic testing. Along with this one, another important question, software quality assurance. Really, all these are different topics, but I brought this testing definition in such a manner like to cover all these topics. Okay, so uh, okay, so as soon as or somewhere if you hear about like testing, so the you'll think like we are aware of. Okay, right? So what do you mean by exactly testing? Very simply we can say means like one mobile phone if you take. So whether it works according to your requirements or not. That is what before purchasing what you do, you try to test. That is nothing but testing. Or you are purchasing some laptop. So what do you think about it? First initially, what is your requirement? And what are your expectations? Means so what is your budget, what is your brand? So many too much stuff you'll think about it. Then you approach some company and everything matches, then only you'll go ahead and place an order. Otherwise you cannot. So that means what you are trying to do, whatever the stuff it is in your real time, before making step further. So what you do is like you just test it whether it meets your requirements or not. Not only in IT industry, in our real life, daily. Okay. So that is nothing but like testing. So means verifying the application. We are into IT industry. So if we think with respect to IT industry or with respect to software, sorry, verifying the application whether it will meet your requirements or not. That means like customer requirements or not. Very simply I have to define means. That is nothing but testing. Also you can define it as executing the program. Who will develop the program? Yesterday I could have given you like a little bit idea. So developer will develop the application. That means he will come up with code for your application and send it to you for testing. So that means that program you will be executing with the intent of finding the errors, with the intent of finding the issues. So that is nothing but like testing. Okay, so executing the program with the intent of finding the errors is nothing but testing. Normally somewhere if you see means like in your material or in if you search in Google or from your studies time, you will get testing definition means this is the stuff. But really if you are really working or you got IT exposure means how you can define it as like verification plus validation. Okay, so other words also how you can define it as quality assurance plus quality control. Remember one point here: verification, quality assurance, both are nothing but synonyms. Okay, exactly. Validation, quality control, both are nothing but synonyms. Okay, so before going further, what we do is like what is verification and what is validation. We see verification is nothing but prevent, validation is nothing but detect. What is the exact difference between these two? Any idea? So prevent is nothing but once you get cancer you cannot do anything. So what you have to do before getting the cancer you have to take precautions, right? So that is nothing but like prevent. Okay, so before getting health affected, so what you will be doing is like frequent health checkups you will be taking and taking precautions. So that is nothing but prevent. Once health get affected, then nothing is there in your hand. So then what you will do, you approach doctor, whatever the suggestions he is giving you will be following. That is what you will do. So that is nothing but like detect. With respect to testing, if you think about it like before occurring the error you will be taking precautions. That is nothing but like prevent. Okay, so issue already produced, issue already occurred in your application, then you will be finding out and resolving that issue. So that is nothing but detect. Okay, so before producing the error you will be taking precautions. So that is nothing but like verification. Once error occurred, is already produced, is already done, then you will be finding out that issue and resolving. But in these two, which one is better? Taking precautions or once error occurred, then you will be finding out result. Which one is better? So taking precautions is better, right? So that is nothing but like a verification. Okay, then validation is that is the so. So in order to understand exactly how it works in our IT industry, means you should be aware of uh, what is software development lifecycle. Okay, in order to understand what exactly the difference between like prevent and detect, how exactly it happens, means how exactly you'll be taking precautions before producing the error. So that is what you have to understand, means you should be aware of software development life cycle. Before going that one, so what we do is like small topic we see. So that is nothing but software quality assurance. Sorry, software quality, what are software quality points? Okay, we are into IT industry. Okay, before that, with the help of testing industry, what you are trying to do, you are trying to find out as many issues as possible in your application, and you will be helping the application in delivering quality application. So you have to find as many issues as possible. That means you have to certify it as a quality application, means you should be aware of what is quality, right? Sorry, you should be aware of what is quality. So that quality you have to get to know, means so how you can consider it as a quality application, means the first point is like to meet customer requirements. What are your end user requirements? So mobile phone, if you take what end user think about it, so making call, SMS, MMS, and like taking screen videos, photos, chart, 2Z, 3, like there's so many features available, right? So all those features we'll think about like that any of the application it is. Okay, so to meet customer requirements, Okay, sorry. Okay, here you are approaching for some internet or broadband connection, let us suppose. So some connection or some company you are approaching. So what is your requirement here? You have to browse. So that is what your requirement. That's why you are approaching some broadband company. Okay, you have taken some connection. You are able to browse, but that connection is too slow. Once you enter gmail.com, for navigating login page is taking 1 minute or 2 minutes. If that is the case, will you really satisfy with that service? No, right? That means in order to meet your requirements, additionally, you will be having some expectations. So those expectations, what you will consider is like usability, performance, and security. Okay, usability, performance, and security. Okay, usability. So what is usability? See, all people are not educated, right? So best example, if you take mobile phones only educated people using? No, uneducated people also. So if you go for like uneducated people with the touch screen or something like that, means they may not feel comfortable. So that means any of the business they have to grow means the usability of that application should be user friendly. So as a tester, what is your primary responsibility is like even as an end user, what is the application you are working with, whether that application is providing user friendly interface or not. That is what you'll be looking. Okay, so that is nothing but like a usability, performance. Our next criteria is performance. So performance plays major role, right? For in your IT industry, whatever the application you take, so performance plays major role. As we just discussed, like internet. Okay, so performance, and these days most of the banking transactions you will be performing over internet. So if it is not providing secure gateways, will you be able to go for this online banking transfer? No, right? Sorry. Okay. So like that, even whatever the application you are working, like Gmail, if you take for security reasons these days, they made it mandatory to update your personal mobile numbers. Why? Only because of security reasons. So even you are opening some bank account means why? Due to security reasons only. So like that, whatever the application you are developing, whether that application provides security, and that is what your additional expectation. Okay, so your second point is like to meet customer expectations, and third point is like within budget. If you think about it, like about our society surveying under 80-20 principle. What do you mean by 80-20? 80% poor people, 20% rich people. Why I'm saying is like during starting days of your mobile communications, if you think about it, with respect to India, okay, if you think about it, rates are heavily cost. Okay, so even incoming also they used to charge too much. But nowadays, within 5 or 6 years of tenure, how tremendously rates got decreased, you may be aware of, right? So why? When rates are costly, only 20 percentage of the people able to use, but rates came down means 80% also started using, right? So that means additionally plus 80 rupees they are getting, $80 they are getting. So any of the business they have to grow means they have to concentrate these 80%, not 20%. So any of the application or any of the business they have to grow means budget also plays major role. And During recession time, public got struggled with their financial issues. So any other new product or new stuff releasing into the market means uh, nobody go for enjoyment, right? Nobody go for purchasing that new products. So that means like you have to grow your business means release time, releasing it to the market also plays major role. So correct time when boom is good, when people are financially good, so at the time if they release, they'll definitely get succeed. Okay, so any of the application what you are working with that application, you try to look for all these things. If it's really satisfying these 4 points, then you can consider it as a quality application and deliver it to client, deliver it to market. So that means as a tester, what you're trying to do is like you're trying to certify whether it is a quality application or not by considering all these 4 points. So this is nothing but like we are into software industry, right? So that's why we are considering it as software quality. Remember another important point. These 4 points not only applicable for your software industry, applicable for all other industries also. Okay, that is sorry. Another important point you have to remember. Okay, so this is nothing but like your software quality. Then we go for like software development life cycle. So why you have to go for software development life cycle? We have to get to know like how you'll be taking precautions before producing the error. That is what you have to find out means you have to understand means you should be aware of software quality assurance. Sorry, software development life cycle. Before starting software development life cycle, in our real nature, if you think about it, so every life having some life cycle, right? Not only lives, even uh, everything like stable stuff also like stores, something whatever it is should be having some life cycle definitely 100%. Okay, everything exactly like that. Human beings if we take, so 4 stages we come across: child is, teenage, middle age, old age. That is nothing but human being life cycle. Exactly like that, you have to develop any of the application in your IT industry. Means you should follow some life cycle. So that is what you are following for developing some software. That is the reason you are considering it as like software development life cycle. Remember one thing, in your studies time you could have got like software development life cycle. At the time we could have studied little bit differently, but here we'll be discussing like in the real time approach how it will be working in real time, how will be really working in your software development life cycle. Okay, so in our software development life cycle, yes, you may be aware of, we will come across 5 different phases. Sorry. Okay, 5 different stages you will come across in your software development lifecycle. Those are nothing but like analysis, design, development, testing, release, and maintenance. So these are the 5 phases you will come across. We go one by one. Sorry. Analysis. So during analysis phase, who will involve is like business analysts. Okay, so let us suppose you're a Verizon. So Verizon, if you take what exactly the end user requirements, what exactly their business needs, business requirements. Okay, so before going that one, what we do is like if we take software companies, what they do is like every company they'll maintain like business analysts. So what they do is like they will be gathering clients for growing your business. So what they'll be doing is like they will be roaming across multiple clients and telling greatly about the company, about your good qualities of your company, and attracting the clients. That is what business analysts, if you talk about it with respect to IT companies. In other words, also you can consider it as like client. Exactly, Verizon is one client. Let us assume. So if you take Verizon, also they will be having some business analysts, but it's little bit different. Like how you can define it as like those business analysts, if you think about it, what exactly their end user require, what exactly their business, okay, how exactly they're planning to run their business, how exactly they have to attract their clients. In such a manner, they will be analyzing. Okay, so like that, our from company people will be roaming, and those people will be attracting the clients. Means, let us suppose some of the client show interest. So these business analysts, what they do is like these people gather all the requirements from client. So at this point of time, what will happen is like business analysts from client as well as company. All people sit together. Okay, all people sit together and gather all the requirements. What exactly their business requirements, what exactly their business needs. Okay, so that is what this business analyst job. Okay, so once they gather, what they do is like they will document everything. So that document, what we will consider it as like business requirement specification. Okay, so why you are calling it a business requirement specification is like, see, client is running some business. For their business needs, they are thinking about coming out with some system. That means they have to grow their business. For their business needs, they are coming up with, they plan to come up with some system. But for us, what is the business? Develop software and deliver it to client. That means for both of the parties, client as well as company, this is the business meeting part. That's why you are considering it as like business requirement specification. Also, you can consider it like customer requirement specification. Also, you can consider like user requirement specification. Okay, so customer requirement specification, why you are calling it like once you develop and deliver it to client, who will be using? Client only, right? Customer only, right? Here small stuff, sometimes we are considering it as like client, sometimes you are, I'm calling it as like customer. We may consider both of them as synonyms, but still there is a slight difference. Let us suppose IBM. For IBM, Verizon, what will you call it as? Client. Normally, this kind of situations, you will consider it as like client. Okay. So for IBM, Verizon is client. But for Verizon, uh, public. Public will be contacting Verizon for networks, right? So at this point of time, public, you will consider it as like customer. Okay. So this is the real difference between like customer as well as client, or even you can consider like both synonyms also, absolutely no problem. Okay, so that is nothing but like customer requirement specification. And why you are calling it like user requirement specification is like once you deliver and deliver it to client, so who is the end user? Public, right? So that's why you are also considering it as like user requirement specification. Excuse me. Okay, so this is nothing but like business requirement specification. What exactly it contains? If you think about it, in our IT industry, you may be here like domain. What do you mean by domain? Means you can consider it as specific field, specific industry. Like banking is one sector, right? So you can consider it as one domain. Insurance, another sector, another industry. So you can consider it as another domain. Like that, healthcare, telecom, securities. Okay, so mortgage domain, like that. Uh, so many domains will come across in our IT industry. Okay, logistics domain, like that. So many domains. Specific field is nothing but one domain. Okay, here until and unless you get a chance to work on specific domain, let us suppose best example healthcare. Doctors use technical terms, right? So you have to understand those terms means you should get trained. Exactly, right? So like that, this BRS document, what exactly it contains is like it contains client's terminology. So we as a software developers or testers, we may not understand the terminology. So that's why what business analyst does is like they completely go through the requirements, understand clearly, and come up with another document like how exactly you're going to develop this requirement as a software, how you will be converting this client requirement as a software, one application, one system. So that is what they will come up with. So that means like simply I have to say means BRS document contains client's terminology, SRS document contains IT terminology which we can understood. Okay, so that is nothing but like software requirement specification. Also you can consider like functional requirement specification. So this document will be describing you about functionality of the entire system. Okay, so this is nothing but like functional requirement specification. During this phase, what business analysts will be doing, they will be gathering information from client. That is the reason analysis phase also you can consider like info gathering phase. Okay, so analysis phase also you can consider like info gathering phase. So during analysis phase, business analysts gets involved and they will be coming up with two types of documents. Those are nothing but BRS and SRS. Any questions? Okay, so as soon as analysis done, then design starts. Okay, so let us suppose you're planning to construct an apartment. Whom you will approach? Civil engineers, right? So uh, as soon as you approach civil engineers, how they come up with the entire design about your apartment? If you think about it like uh, how many levels you have to come up with, means like how many floors in each and every floor, how many houses you have to keep, how many houses you have to construct. So like that, very high level plan initially he will come up with. So that is what you can consider it as like high level design document. So how many floors you have to construct, and in each and every floor how many 1 BHKs, how many 2 BHKs, how many 3 bedrooms, something like that. That is nothing but high level design. Then what is low level design? Each an independent house, like 2 BHK house, if you take, how exactly you have to come up with? Exactly means where you have to put entrance, where you have to put bedroom, where you have to put kitchen. Okay, in India means even Vastu also they will try to go right according to Vastu complaint. Okay, so according to that they will come up with in detail design about entire every house, independent house. So that is nothing but like low level design. Exactly. In our IT industry also, during design phase, architects gets involved. So even architects, how you can call them as like civil engineers, also like in our real life. But technical term we use is architects. So whatever the application you are going to develop for that application, they will be coming up with like two types of architectural design documents. Those are nothing but high level design and low level design. If we take Gmail, how you'll come up with high level design is like login page, home page. So in the home page, if you take left side, inbox, outbox, compose mail, sent mail, drafts, trash. In middle, mails, whatever the tab you're selecting left side, according with the respective contents will get displayed in middle, and right side yard or something like that, and log out. So that is nothing but like your high level design. Best example. Okay. So Gmail if you take, so very high level design, what will come up with? Login, compose mail, read emails and sign out. In middle you may come across so many other things like drafts, trash, chart, so many stuff. So this is nothing but like your high level design you will come up during high level design for your Gmail. Then how you will come up with your low level design? So it's very simple. Each and every independent component from your high level design you take, and in detail description, in detail design for that event or for that module you will come up with. So that is nothing but like login. If you take login, how it looks like? Username, password, sign in. And you can mention even like forget password, okay, and keep signing. Okay. Registration, if you take, how it looks like first name, last name, middle name, username, password, confirm password, address, something, so many stuff. Okay, like that. Exactly like that. If you take composite, how it looks like? 2cc bcc subject matter. That is how you will come up with. Okay. So this is nothing but like the idea behind the design phase is like architects gets involved, and so whatever the application you are developing for that application, they understand very clearly and come up with two types of documents. Those are nothing but like high level design as well as low level design. Any questions? No questions means like then we go for like development. Okay, then we can go for development. So in development phase, you may be aware of like who will involve. Development team gets involved, like who are good in programming knowledge, means like Java or .NET, C Oracle apps. This application, which technology you are going to develop, respective technology team gets involved under development. Okay, under development phase in your software development website. Is it really possible to construct whatever the house you are staying at a time? No, right? So what you will do is like first initially they will come up with base, then they'll start constructing from some corner, and slowly they will be enhancing. Means like they are dividing the entire house stuff to different modules, right? Different components. Exactly like that. Even in your IT industry. So excuse me. So Gmail, if you take at a time, they cannot construct. So what they do is like they will divide it into modules. It's not like four modules. How many modules that application, you can divide those many modules. Okay, so number of modules depends on the complexity of that application. Then modules, again they will divide it into sub modules into sub modules into sub modules, like that. So many levels they will divide, and what they do is like they will take up smallest independent component. Like if you take Gmail login, they will take first. Okay, login they will take first, and for that one they start developing code. Okay, so if you take application now, four modules they are dividing means, let us suppose for this project 30 people or 40 developers are working. So how they will divide means like again each and every module depends on the complexity, this team gets allocated. Like module 1 10 people, module 2 15 people, module 3 5 people, module 10 again 12 or something like that. Means again it will depends on the complexity. So module 1 10 people means sub module 1 sub module 2. Again they will try to share in such a manner, they share the features and modules whatever you are having in your application. So as soon as they develop, they divide, so smallest independent component like login they will take, and they start come up with code. Once they come up with code for login, what they do, they integrate with registration module, registration feature. Then they will integrate both like login, registration. Then they will enhance with compose mail. Then they will be coming up with inbox. Like that, slowly they will be enhancing the application. Okay, so that is the approach they go for. This is the common process for any of the project people try to follow in your IT industry. Okay, excuse me. Now let us suppose for developing this application, how much time it will take? The time of contract, whatever they committed, like 2 years or 3 years. So let us assume this project is for 3 years. So they develop entire application for 3 years and send it to testing team. Means these 3 years of time, what testing team will be doing? Company cannot sit them idle and pay the salaries, right? So my point here is like during this time, testers also should be having some work. So in order to avoid this kind of discrepancy, what companies do is like instead of developing whole application and send it to testing team for testing purpose, what they do is like they will divide and they will develop some features, that means like part of the application, and send it to testing team for testing purpose. Means like login, registration they will develop and send it to testing team for testing purpose, and they will integrate with compose mail and send it to testing team for testing purpose immediately. Okay, so that is the approach companies try to follow. So this portion of the application they will be developing and sending it to testing team. So this portion, what you can consider like release. I mean to say like internal release. Also you can consider like bold. Also you can treat it as drop. Internal release or bold or drop. What do you mean by release? Means like original release, external release. If you think about it, like Windows 7, if you take, they're releasing it to the market. So that is nothing but like your release. So Windows XP, another release. Windows 8, another release. Right? Okay. For developing Windows 7, Microsoft could have taken 3 or 4 or 5 years. What they do? Instead of developing whole application, and send it to testing team. Internally, they could have had so many releases. So this internally, whatever they're making, the builds, those one, you can consider it as like internal release. Okay, you can consider like internal release. So normally, internally, uh, companies come up with like two types of releases. Internal releases again are of two types. Those are major release, minor release. Major release means like every 3 months, or minor release means 1 month. Remember, this time tenure may get vary from project to project or client to client. Okay, company to company or project to project or client to client, but looks like this. Okay, but sure, every project you will come across two types of releases. Okay, so how they'll make it as releases like release 100, releases 200, release 300, or Augusta release, or beta release, or spectrum, whatever the names you feel comfortable. Like the thing is like before starting up the project, all developers and testers sit, not developers and testers, I'm sorry, so client people and company people, senior management people sit together and give names for releases. So Augusta 200 hardening sprint, like that. Okay, so release 100 or 200 or 300, 400, 500, like that they will plan accordingly. See, before starting up the project, what they do is like they will come up with like a release plan, like what is the complexity of this application, so what is the time duration you are going to take up for developing entire application, so how many releases you have to come up with. Okay, so that is what release 100 means. January 1st it will start, January end it will end, and people were going to develop like login and registration. Release 200 means it will end for February start and February end, and people will be working on developing features like composement. Then inbox release 300, outbox release 400, tracks release something like that. Before starting up the project, development team come up with the release plan. Okay, so accordingly, what they do is like whatever the features they plan to develop, so they will develop and send it to installation team for installing the application. Normally, the thing is like what will happen is uh, very good interview question you will come across here. How you will get intimation of build as a tester? How you will get intimation of internal release? So development team, what they do is like they will develop whatever the features they plan for that release and make it as a setup file and send it to installation team for installing purpose. Then installation team, once they succeed with their installation, send it to testing team as well as development team. Deployment was successful, you carry on your testing activities. So that's how it works. Remember one thing, for most of the projects, there are three teams will be working. So that is nothing but like development team, deployment team, and testing team. But it's not stable for every project and every organization. Okay? It's very simple task, right? Deployment. Anybody can do with a little bit guidance. So if it is little bit small project means testing team themselves may install and go ahead with the testing activities, or development team themselves go for like a deployment, then you will be testing. But these three phases will be there. Development means like making it as a setup file, installation, and testing. So these three phases will be there. So like that it will be happen. So this is the way you will get intimation of build. So means like what are the features developers plan for that release? They will develop, make it as a setup file, send it to installation team for installing purpose. Once installation successful, deployment successful, send it to testing team for testing purpose. Okay. Normally, what will happen is like one project you are working means internally you may maintain companies like different environments. Development environment means developers will be working on this environment, will be developing their code. Production environment like Gmail live you are using, right? Gmail you are using, right? That is the environment you can consider as normally production environment. Manual testing team, if you take testing team again, they may divide it into three teams or multiple teams, depends on the project process. Okay. So manual testing, automation testing, performance testing. So manual testing team will be working on manual testing environment. And another important question here is like why I have mentioned here like IP address. If you remember during starting days of your IT industry, how you'll be referring computers is like this IP addresses only. Okay. But for multiple applications you have to remember this IP address means it's very hard, right? That is the reason later they come up with domain like gmail.com, yahoomail.com, something like that. Okay. So like the domain they come up with, but even these days also internally so many companies, so many projects, how they are maintaining environments is this is the way. Okay. So once developers get ready with their code, they send it to installation team. That means like deployment team. Once deployment team gets latest build, what they do is like their responsibility is needs to be installed in all of these environments, and they send out an email. What you do is like as soon as you receive an email, if you will be into manual testing, you go for manual testing environment and start testing your activities. Okay. If you will be into automation testing, you go automation testing environment and start your testing activities. So that is the process you try to follow. So exactly in your real-time environment, this is how it works for most of the projects, 99% of the projects. Okay. So development plan already I told, right? So before starting of the project they will come up with like development plan. So that is nothing but like development like development plan. So whatever they plan for release 100, they will develop, make it as a setup file, send it to deployment team. So deployment team they will deploy to latest environment and send it to testing team. Then as a tester, what is your responsibility? Whether that application developers properly developed or not, with respect to end user requirements, with respect to customer requirements, you will be executing. And if you find if this application is deviating from customer requirements, you will be reporting those issues to development team. So what developers will do, they will fix those issues and send it to testing team. So these two cycles will be repeatedly happening until whole application gets ready. Okay. So whenever new build comes up, what is your responsibility is like you'll try to find out issues, you'll send back to development team, developers fix back to you for testing. So these two cycles will be repeatedly happening in between development team and testing team until whole application gets ready. Okay. So once whole application gets ready, what you will be doing is like in your you will be ready to release it to the customer at that point of time, right? So by that time you will be ready to release it to the customer. Okay. So what you do is like you will be releasing it to the customer. Before releasing it to the customer, what you do is like within your company environment, You will be making exactly like customer means like how exactly customer is going to use, which kind of environment he is going to use. That kind of environment you set up in your company environment and test. The idea is very simple. Once whole application gets ready in company environment, you install whole of your application and test to make sure how it works. So that is nothing but like alpha testing. Once alpha testing done, you go to client environment, there you install and test. So that is nothing but like beta testing. Okay, so remember one thing, once entire application gets finished, you are at the ending days of 3 years. So before releasing it to the customer, in company environment, you'll install whole application and test. So that is nothing but alpha testing. Then you go to company environment, client environment. There you will install and test. So that is nothing but beta testing. As of now, you remember that is the same. Yeah, exactly. That is nothing but alpha testing and beta testing. Once you release it to the customer, even after releasing, it's not like ending relationship between you and the client. Okay, so even after any of the enhancements or any of the issues they are facing, they should come back to you only for fixing or for developing those enhancements. Okay, so at that time companies how they maintain is like one or two developers or one or two testers. Okay, so development team, they will be fixing issues or enhancements. Testing team will be testing those issues or enhancements like that. So maintenance will be lifelong. How many days the client is going to use the project, those many days maintenance will be there. Okay, once you develop and release it to the customer, after that some little bit maintenance kind of stuff required. So that is nothing but like maintenance phase. So this is nothing but like your software development life cycle. This one I will explain later. There is a slight difference between like application, project and product. But what I do is like let me conclude actually I have 5 minutes of time. Within this 5 minutes, let me conclude what I supposed to do. So testing. Why we discussed the software development lifecycle is like uh, we have to be aware of like how to take precautions before producing the error. Okay, so that is why we come up with this one, right? So verification means prevent, validation means detect, means quality assurance and quality control. So this is what you have to understand means. Okay, if you take one application ABCD application, that application is having 4 modules. So analysis done, design done, development done. That means like entire application they finished, got it for testing. Okay, so that means like what is the process you are following? Like entire application they develop and send it to you for testing. Now as soon as you get application, as soon as you get new world, what you do, you will start as usual testing that application, right? So while testing, you found C module got missed. As a tester, what is your responsibility is like you have to find as many bugs as possible, you have to find as many issues as possible and report those issues to development team. Okay, but here my question is like one module got missed means it's really hectic, right? It's very critical issue. It's very critical issue. Okay, so that means like okay, coming to the point, as soon as you report, first blame whom you will go for? Development team. Remember one thing, in your application, any of the issue you are facing, primarily it will go for like development team. Okay, okay. But here my question is like again, development team by referring which documents they are coming up with their development activities. Another important point here is like for any of the team at any point of time they get any of the questions or clarifications means they can refer very well SRS documents, functional requirement specification documents. Along with that one, development in what they will refer is like high level design and low level design. So that is nothing but like architectural documents they refer. Okay, architectural documents they will refer. Okay, so what happened here is like whatever the architectural documents they receive, there itself this module got missed out. Okay, actually what happened is the design phase itself they missed. Okay, means my point here is like blames went to designers. Again, designers by referring which documents they will come up with their architectural documents. They refer SRS, right? But SRS from where it will get developed? BRS. Actually, what happened is like once they gather requirements from client, somewhere they missed out in documenting. Now, my question here is like for analysis, how much time it will take? It depends on the complexity of the application, like 6 months or 1 year. For design, how much time it will take? 6 months to 1 year. Development, 1 or 2 years. So 3 years of time or 4 years of time entirely going to waste. This 3 years of time, company could have utilized so many resources like power, electricity, human resources, salaries to so many employees. Entire stuff going to waste. So what you have to do? Again you have to come up with analysis. Again you have to come up with the design. Again you have to come up with development. Does anybody motivate this kind of approach? You are the client, let us suppose. Will you really appreciate this kind of stuff? No, right? So instead of this approach, what you could have done is like as soon as BRS document gets ready, if you test there itself, as soon as you gather requirements and come up with BRS, there itself if you test, like by considering different points, like whether we gather all requirements or not. Whatever the requirements we gather, all are complete or not, all are correct or not, and what are the budget client is going to invest within that budget, whether you will be able to develop that application or not. By considering all these points, if you test there itself, if something missed out there itself, you can correct. Exactly like that SRS document, exactly like that as soon as architectural documents get ready, there itself if you test something went wrong, immediately you can rectify. Okay, so now you got idea, right? How you are really taking precautions before producing the error. Okay, how you are taking precautions before producing the error. Okay, so that's how we actually, so instead of developing whole application and sending it to testing team, so if that is the case, if something went wrong, again you have to come up with like a rework kind of stuff. So to overcome that problem, what you can do, as soon as one phase gets ready, there itself if you test, you can resolve. So that one makes better product. So that's how you'll be taking precautions. Okay, so that is nothing but like that is the way you are taking, you are preventing. Okay, so that is nothing but like you are testing. Normally I need 10 more minutes to complete this testing, but unfortunately I have some another class. What we do is like before starting up tomorrow's class, what we do is like we'll discuss other topics of testing, whatever we left 10 minutes, then we go for starting another batch. Okay, another topic I mean. Okay, any questions? Okay, and another thing is like tomorrow also we meet same time here. For tomorrow, Monday onwards, we'll make it 7:30. Okay, fine. Okay, that's fine now. Okay, already those people may be waiting. Okay, tomorrow we'll have if you have any questions. Okay, thank you so much for your time. See you, fine. Bye.